From the News Channel 5 Network, this is OpenLine.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to OpenLine. I am Ben Hall. Good show tonight. An opportunity for you to get free tax advice. Where else can you do that? Where else can you call in and get free tax advice, money advice? Happy to have with us Dr. Friday, tax specialist. Thank you for being here.
Hey, thank you for inviting me.
All right, so in your office right now, very busy because it is tax season.
It is the season.
What is one of the biggest questions you get asked on a regular basis? What is the biggest question, perhaps?
Probably one of the biggest ones that come in are, do I have to file taxes? Which you think it's tax season, everyone has to file taxes. But there's a lot of seniors especially, or people that are living on small fixed incomes that really don't. And so you might want to double check. I mean, you know, why go spend $100, $200 to get a tax return prepared? Because many of them can't prepare themselves or not sure how to. And put that money out there when you're making, as a single person, less than $10,000 with your Social Security, or, you know, I mean, or half of your Social Security and $10,000, you almost get away with tax-free. Married couples, you know, same thing. So you just want to double check. And AARP, I think, United Way, I think both of them will also offer some free services, because the IRS no longer offers, you can't even get really advice from the IRS any longer with cutbacks. You can't go down there and ask questions. You really can't even, I know they don't have the tax forms at the IRS building this year. A lot of people call me because where do I get them? You know, they don't have access to the libraries are no longer carrying the information, so you physically have to call, order the forms, and have them mailed to you.
So when you said that was the question, I thought everyone had to file.
I know, isn't that shocking? There are a few people, yes. And then there's some people that will call and say, well, I'm 80 years old. I don't have to file taxes anymore, right? As if an age might lead to a cutoff period, which it should in many ways. I mean, you've done your dues, you know, but unfortunately, no, it's not working.
And for many people, it is to their advantage to file, and that's the other thing.
Well, yes, if you have paid in any withholding taxes, even if you get 100% back, I mean, we have people that come in every year. We try to stop that, because if you don't have to file, then stop paying federal withholding taxes. That way, again, you've turned off that faucet. But if for some reason your retirement account, pension, Social Security is withholding taxes, don't leave that money on the table. I mean, what was it? In 2013, I think Tennesseans alone left $5 million on the table. And remember, you can only go back 3 years to get your money. So if you realize, oh, I've left some money on the table, I want to go get it because I'm thinking about it, you better rush, because right now you're basically looking at 12, 13, and 14 up until April 15th. 12 will fall off at that point unless you have a legitimate extension on file. So it's kind of important not only to file your current taxes, but if you haven't filed taxes in a few years, maybe you're leaving money on the table.
And what are some penalties that we might be looking at this year that might be new? The thing that comes to mind for me is, of course, Affordable Care Act, Obamacare.
Exactly. That's probably one of the few that has increased, right? We went from 1% to 2% on the penalty for that, so that will be something that people have. I think the biggest thing that people are shocked is if they don't file their taxes because they heard that there's an extension out there, right? So I can wait till October to file my taxes. Remember, you must file an extension. It does say at the top, automatic extension for 6 months, but that form must be received by the IRS, and you must have proof that they've received it. Don't just kind of prepare it and say it's gone. Certify it or e-file it, which is the best way to do it, to make sure that they have confirmation. Then you have 6 months, only paperwork. It is not extending the money you owe. Keep that in mind. If you owe money, you got to pay it, or there's going to be 5% per month that you're late, up to 25%. That can add up really quick.
All right, as always, I have lots of questions that may improve my life, but this show's not about me. So I'm going to go to the phones now. We have several calls, so let's just go to the phones here. Let's go to Elizabeth. Hello, Elizabeth.
Hi, how are you all?
Good.
Great. What's on your mind?
I have about 3 questions. And I don't know if this first one is in your area. I don't know. But anyway, I'm on Social Security, and I wanted to know, say if I were to go back and work part-time or something, how long would it take before my Social Security benefits start start to increase because I'd be paying Social Security again, taxes again.
Okay, well, what age are you now?
60.
Okay, so you're taking early Social Security. If you're paying in, they may do a reevaluation, but it would depend on how much your part-time job even creates. I mean, if you're only earning, $6,000, $7,000, $8,000 a year, because you're limited, otherwise you'll start paying back Social Security $1 for every $2 you earn over, what is it, $15,000 a year, I think? Something around that ballpark. So you have to be a little careful on that. But my understanding is there really isn't a recalculation when you hit full retirement. They may do a recalculation, but my understanding is not likely because they limit how much you can earn. Therefore, you really can't you can't really maximize more Social Security benefits over that period once you're on it.
Okay. Now my second question is, we did not get any increase for cost of living last year. So will they double it this year?
Oh, no. Cost of living isn't it a good question?
That is.
People
That
think,
seems fair.
Yeah, unfortunately, and their way of calculating cost of living increase is questionable anyways, but no, they're going to base it each year. Last year they basically said the cost of living did not increase enough to justify an increase, which everyone knows medical has went up. Now, petrol has went down currently, but it kept going up for years, and they don't add that into the cost of living calculation. So, in answer to your question, no, they're going to base each year on what they find to be a necessary increase.
And lastly, do you think that we'll get one this year?
I believe we did. I believe there was one that came out already. I think you need to look. I think a lot of people told me they got increases back in like October or November, I think.
Really?
Yeah, take a look and see. Don't hold your breath on it, but it seemed like a lot of people said that they did get one, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Elizabeth. That's not good if she didn't notice it.
Well, it could have been a few dollars, and sometimes people don't really see that. I'm just saying, especially if she's on a smaller income.
All right, let's go to Mike. Hello, Mike.
Hi, guys. How are y'all doing up there?
Good.
Great. What's on your mind?
Hey, I got a question to ask, if you don't mind. So a few questions. If we are a nonprofit and someone donates us land in Nashville to build on for the homeless to have a place to come and stay, do we have to pay taxes on the land? And my other question is, if I have people sponsor this building to help pay like the electric and the water and whatnot, or for materials for the school, this building, can they be tax exempt? I mean, can they be like a nonprofit? I mean, donating to a nonprofit,
Okay.
Can they get a tax exempt from their company? I hang up and thanks for your time.
Okay, yeah. And both of those kind of lead back to two things. One, you're going to want to make sure you're a proper 501. If it's a C3, C5, C8, make sure that you're able to do what your nonprofit says you're doing, because you're raising funds for the homeless. And if that's what your nonprofit has been approved by the IRS, then anything given to you there's no tax. A nonprofit pays zero tax. That's the purpose of it, because the money is being recontributed back to society, and therefore, you're giving back, and every dollar gets to go back, and whoever contributes should get a sheet of paper basically saying this is how much you contribute. So they're going to contribute. They're not going to pay the electric bill directly. They're going to contribute to the 501c3 or the nonprofit, and then you're going to pay the electric bills or whatever maintenance is required. The property, that person that donated it could actually done a great job. Maybe they couldn't sell it, but the fair market value is what they get to write off, even if they can't sell it for that much money. So it's a good tax advantage for somebody that's donating land.
Good, Mike. Thank you for that question and for doing the work you're doing. Let's go to Karen. Hello, Karen.
Hi.
Hi. What's on your mind?
I just have a simple question. I just wanted to know, if you didn't file taxes last year and you were working, can you file for 2 years in a row, for 14 and 15?
Awesome question, and yes, and that goes for people that may not file for a few years, because like I say, people have a tendency. You can file back as many years as you want. I probably would never suggest going back more than 7 to 8 years at this point, unless the IRS is mandating it. But yes, definitely go back, file it, because the time clock, even if you owe money, the time clock never starts if you don't file a tax return. If you have a refund, you only have those 3 years to collect. So either way, it's a win-win definitely, sweetheart, file your taxes, and hopefully you'll get your refund. If not, then you'll just make a payment plan. It takes care of itself.
And do you hear that a lot?
A lot. That's my job.
Why don't people file? Why do they not file?
Well, sometimes it's medical or health reasons. Sometimes divorce is a #1 reason. You know, I hate my spouse, I'm not going to file taxes. I really don't know the whole answer on that one, but it seems to be very, very normal in that particular situation. And then sometimes, you know what, you miss 1 year and you knew you owed money, and the IRS never really got to you, right? So I'm just going to stay under that radar and get back on my feet. 8, 9 years later, still trying to get on my feet. So, you know, the IRS hasn't called, hasn't done. They're thinking that the IRS doesn't know I owe money, therefore I'm not going to tell them. Unfortunately, just because the IRS isn't sending you love letters doesn't mean they haven't already put liens against things. A lot of times those same people have moved many times, so the letters have gotten lost in the mail, because if you relocate, it takes the IRS a little while to track you. And a lot of people work as 1099, so sometimes they're moving jobs faster than the IRS could track them down. But they're looking. They're tracking. It's just that they're a little behind you is all.
That's a dangerous game to play.
Yeah, it's not a game anyone, I mean, do you really just want to just sleep at night nicely and be able to move forward? Deal with your IRS issues just like you would deal with paying your rent, your food. It really can be that simple. I mean, it can be manageable. We can make deals, you know. You don't always have to pay 100%, but they want you to start doing it right. That's really what the IRS wants.
All right, we have a bunch of calls. We're going to take a break and then hold on the line. We'll just start going through all these calls. Be back right after this.